back to our top story this afternoon to do with the NPA's announcement of the removal of the Price Stabilization and Recovery Levy on fuel products, petrol, diesel, and a kilogram of LPG. Joining us is Mohammed Abdul Kudus, who is head of communications at the Corporate Affairs Division of the NPA. Great to have you on our program. What's informing this move, sir? All right, we don't have Mohammed yet, but we can speak with Duncan Amwa, who is Executive Secretary of the Chamber of Petroleum Consumers Ghana, who is on the phone with us. And so I was asking you what you made of this announcement by the NPA, Duncan.
Indeed, this is a welcoming development. We've been asking for the Price Stabilization and Recovery Levy to be removed all this while. The only downside is the NPA failing to indicate when this reduction is taking effect. We were expecting that it was going to be a communique directing the various oil marketing companies to immediately, with effect from today, reduce the Stabilization and Recovery Levy. Being that as it may, we still feel that Mr. President would need to also look at the Finance Ministry and look at the pricing build-up completely or thoroughly. You are getting into a season where prices are simply going to go up again and again and again. The 14 to 16 pesos reduction could only suffice for the very last increment we have seen, which was just the past 6-7 days when we saw pump prices go up by between 12 and 14 pesos. And so if you just left it to only Price Stabilization and Recovery Levy reduction, we'll be back to the same squares in no time at all, because prices are going to go up again in the next 6 to 7 days. And we think that the more significant thing to do at this point will be to reduce some of the overbearing taxes on the price build-up. When I talk of taxes, I'm specific. Taxes that were imposed when crude prices were below $30. In 2016, the then government felt, well, we had a revenue projection of our crude exports at $56, $54. Unfortunately, crude has tumbled or dropped to about $30 at the time. So to make up for the gap, government at the time introduced a tax on the price build-up called Special Petroleum Tax of 46 pesos a liter. Unfortunately, as I speak to you this morning, prices of crude has gone above $84 per barrel. Government in 2021 budget projected $57.8. And so government is simply making so much revenue from our petroleum exports. Therefore, it is our expectation that there will be some attempts to mitigate the hardship that these increases is bringing onto all of us by reducing those taxes that were introduced when crude was $30, i.e. the Special Petroleum Tax of 46 pesos. If government also is minded, another tax that was recently introduced, which duplicates an existing tax, the energy sector levy of 46 pesos. We recently added another tax of 20 pesos called energy sector levy of 20 pesos. If you added just the two, you are looking at almost 66 pesos that we can splash off. The UPPF PDM margins could equally be looked at and consolidate them so that you can actually reduce them by some 5 pesos. If you do these things, I do not see how Ghanaians cannot get a sustainable reduction of over 70 pesos every liter. The 14-16 is good, but woeful if you ask.
On the question of when this will be implemented, the NPA in the statement said it will work with the Ministries of Energy and Finance to quicken the legislative processes to give immediate effect to the directive by the President. And so what timelines are we looking at? Mohammed Abdul Kudus is Head of Communication and Corporate Affairs Division of the NPA. Hopefully you have some answer for us. And so how long should we expect this to go on before we get a reflection of the reduction, Mohammed? Or the removal of the stabilization and recovery levies? Can you hear me?
So, forgive me, like the statement rightly put it, there's supposed to be a certain process so we can have the effect actually felt at the pump. As you are aware, it is something that Parliament will also have to have a review and okay the promise that has actually been made by government. This is an intention that government has expressed to all of us. I believe the delight goes to everybody across the consuming sphere, including myself and yourself. We only would do the implementation when the communication is finally sent to us that it has actually been reviewed. As we speak, the communication has not come to us that it has been okayed for us to really take it out of the equation in the price buildup. So when the determination is made, we would actually feature that. And as you know, the pricing window is twice a month, the 1st to 15th, which has already been determined. So if we have the communication given to us, hopefully before close of 15th, the second window of pricing from 16th of this month, we probably should be able to have a feel of it at the pump.
Well, I can tell you that consumers are anxious. I got a couple of people asking me, when is this going to take effect? And so they are really anxious about it. But you heard Duncan talk about sustainable prices going forward. I mean, after 2 months, what happens? We're going back to the normal prices as are reflected on the world market.
So if we are minded by our mandate, we implement what is actually given to us. The determination of what should be slapped on the price buildup is not within our remit. So we only implement what is communicated. Government has expressed the intention. We're hoping that the processes will be completed, so we just can't implement it. At our place, we do the implementation. Not having to speak for government and probably adding my voice to what Duncan talked about is good. And anything that would bring a reprieve at the pump is good. But I think that for government to also be able to feel the anxiety out there and seemingly empathize with all of us, I think it is equally welcoming. So, like you said, it is good enough, but probably what they do at their place, they're advocating for more. As and when the determination is done and communication is sent to us, we would implement.
Yes, I get your point, but I'm sure you're also looking at the interests of consumers as well. If I remember, a couple of weeks ago, your boss was talking about how consumers need to also be protected in these times that the fuel prices are going up. I was just trying to get your thoughts on how you think that going forward, in the long term, the various stakeholders can work together to ensure that the consumer is cushioned, seeing what is happening on the international market.
Yes, I get you and I agree with you. And that's what I'm trying to say, that we should be minded by what actually is our mandate. Because till July 2015, we had an input in the determination of price. But right now, as it is a deregulated market out there, that it is the forces of demand and supply that basically determines how much should be sold at the pump. And we're all aware that it has been the excess demand over supply that has actually been pushing the prices on the global market upwards. Unfortunately, because of the deregulated environment that we operate, anytime there is a movement on the price at the world market, there is a direct impact or relation to the consuming public in Ghana. We only try to regulate to ensure that it's a win-win situation. So consumers are not shortchanged or probably given something far more than it is expected to be paid. And then there should be a certain return on investment for the businesses that actually are into the fuel business. So that is basically what we do. So if I'm going to talk about what NPA can do, it is as though we have a role to play in the determination of what margin is put, what levy is put, or what tax is put out there. We can't do that. But obviously, we go out there to do the monitoring. We try to ensure that our prices are within the expected brackets. And those things would do it to our best possible best, so that we always can guarantee that suppliers go out there and get something worth their money.
I'll just give the last word to Duncan Amwa. So you had Mohammed Abdul Kudus there. So after 2 months, I mean, we revert to the same old prices. There's little they can do actually in, I mean, convincing or sort of influencing what's happening on the markets. What's the way forward?
The way forward is in ensuring that the 2022 budget gets quite a significant reduction in the tax levels. Once that is done, like I indicated, we would be able to sustain and manage fuel prices for Ghanaians. The stabilization and recovery levy reduction is good, but it would probably be on ad hoc basis, considering that it's going to last just for 2 months. And so if within the months of October, November, and by December, prices are still going up, we're going to enforce the stabilization again, and Ghanaians will probably pay even much more than they probably would have been comfortable with. So let's look at the finance minister. Let's look at the ministry's budget for 2022, and let's see how the president could, again, intervene to ensure that the taxes, overbearing taxes, some of which were introduced when crude prices were quite low, do not continue to exist to be charged against Ghanaians. If we don't do these things, we will be only window dressing the situation while people continue to complain about fuel prices at the pump. Like I said, it could go up again in 2 weeks or in a matter of 7 days. Once that comes, it's going to wipe out the 16-14 pesos that we are giving out today. Then we are back to the same squares. But there is a more sustainable way to handle this, and that will be through the Finance Ministry's 2022 budget. We will be pleading with Mr. President to intervene again to ensure that at least something more significant is given to Ghanaians going forward.
Thank you very much. We have to end it here. Mohammed Abdul Kudus, Head of Communications at the NPA, also Duncan Amwa, Executive Secretary of COPEC Ghana. Thanks for your time. You're watching The Marketplace. We'll be right back.